From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at Noon, streaming now.
Welcome to the news at noon. I'm Lauren Casey. Metro Police are still trying to figure out what led to gunfire on the north side of the city from overnight. In all, 5 people were shot, one of them later dying. That shooting happened just around 2 o'clock this morning near 38th and Graceland Avenue. Police say the gunfire was reported during a gathering at a home in the area. All of the victims were taken to hospitals. That's where a man was pronounced dead. Another victim remains in critical condition.
Our chief and everyone from the top down, we are very concerned. We're very concerned, and it's very frustrating to our officers. When you dial 911, we respond. Our officers deal with this on a daily basis. We're here. We want the community to know we're here. We stand with them. We need the community's assistance whenever we have incidents like this to come forward and help us get these crimes solved.
Well, there have now been more than 160 homicides in Indianapolis since the start of this year. In Richmond, police say they're still looking for the driver whose car hit a group of Black Lives Matter protesters. This is video and pictures from the weekend demonstration before the car ran into the group, leaving some people with minor injuries. Part of a group of about 100 marchers were walking in a marked crosswalk in the area of 7th and North Street at the time of the crash.
Very panicked, definitely a lot of anger. There were a few people that started to run after the car. There was a lot of confusion going on, as in this really did just happen. Honestly, a lot of fear of this might come back to us, that it doesn't take a lot for a person to turn the car around and try again.
So far, no arrests have been made. Richmond police are asking anyone with video of this incident to contact their department. New this midday, a federal judge in Missouri has recommended that criminal charges be dropped over the sinking of the duck boat that killed several members of an Indianapolis family. The captain, operations supervisor, and on-duty manager for the boat were all indicted over the sinking back in 2018 that led to a total of 17 deaths. But a federal magistrate says the lake near Branson, Missouri, where the boat went down, is not considered a navigable waterway under federal law. He says that the case should be handled in Missouri State Court instead. A final decision on the case has not been made. 9 members of the Coleman family from right here in Indianapolis were among those who died in that accident. Taking a turn now to our midday forecast. Todd Glosson is joining me from his home basement right now. Todd, it is a holiday. It's Labor Day, a time when a lot of people want to get outside and make those plans. But you were telling us this morning it really depends where you are and what's going on in the forecast.
Yeah, you know, most of central Indiana completely dry right now and even featuring quite a bit of sunshine, Lauren. But there's one little band of storms that's already fired up across northern portions of central Indiana. And you can see that on WRTV radar. And where it's raining, it is coming down really hard with some lightning mixed in as well. And that's just north of Kokomo up towards Peru. Then some downpours back towards Rossville as well as Lafayette. And then off towards the east in Marion and just north of Hartford City, there's some thunderstorms as well. And there is the potential a couple of these could be strong to severe. So what's going to happen is to the south, as you can see, especially from Indianapolis to Bloomington, there's a lot of clear skies still. To the north where these storms are, that's where we find the cold front. And in this cold front is just going to slowly start to drop down to the south as we go throughout the afternoon hours. So that should increase the coverage of these storms by just a little bit. So that's why you need to be weather aware in these northern locations as these storms start to make their way a little further and sinking to the south. So our rain chances, while isolated, are present here for your Labor Day. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s, whereas more clouds, obviously cooler. When we have lots of sunshine in Bloomington and Columbus, temperatures already up into the low 80s. We'll watch these storms for you. Again, a couple of them could produce some damaging wind and a little bit of hail for your afternoon plans with temperatures right around 80 degrees. More on your extended forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. So the ongoing pandemic did not stop people from going to the lake this Labor Day holiday weekend. And now Indiana University and the Department of Natural Resources are investigating after pictures and video show a large crowd at Lake Monroe. Pictures shared with WRTV here show people crowded on 3 rental boats on the lake Friday afternoon. IU is trying to figure out if any of its students were on board. The school says there will be possible sanctions against any student found to be in violation of IU's COVID-19 safety protocols. That includes suspension, even expulsion. That's according to the university's website. Well, with less than 2 months to go in the race for the White House, the two major party vice presidential candidates are looking for votes in some key swing states today. President Mike Pence and the Democratic running mate Kamala Harris, they're both spending Labor Day up in Wisconsin. Pence is scheduled to speak at a dairy farmers co-op, while Harris is meeting with members of the Electrical Workers Union and with black business owners. And we know the race between the two presidential candidates is heating up as we enter the final months before the election, and still some talk is centered on whether or not President Trump made some private comments about military veterans. ABC's Inez de la Cotera has the latest on this war of words between the candidates.
As the presidential campaign enters its final stretch, President Trump defending himself against fresh allegations against his character. A new book from his former attorney and fixer Michael Cohen depicting Trump as a cheat, fraud, and racist. And an explosive report in The Atlantic alleging that the president denigrated American war dead as losers and suckers.
They're real. It's beneath the dignity of any commander-in-chief. Truly, they're despicable.
The president has repeatedly denied the claims, White House officials rushing to his defense on CNN.
Well, absolutely not. And I would be offended, too, if I thought it was true.
And on Fox.
Quite the contrary. I think this president has enormous respect for the military and for the generals.
But Democrats pouncing.
If the article is true, and it appears to be based on other things he said, it is absolutely damnable.
Joe Biden, who has made his campaign about restoring the soul of America, now releasing this new ad featuring veterans reading parts of the article.
You can't love the military and call someone who got killed a sucker.
President Trump responding with a video of disabled vets who support him.
Sweat and heart and tears.
Voters and veterans taking note.
So tell me what your reaction was when you read that article.
Broke my heart. It broke my heart because we're not losers. We're not suckers.
Today, Joe Biden will be hitting the campaign trail in Pennsylvania, and President Trump will be addressing the media from the White House. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the racers are flying down the hill in Indy on this Labor Day. National Derby Rallies is hosting the final round of the Soapbox Derby Nationals at the famous Wilbur Shaw Soapbox Derby Hill in Indy. It's the first time the national competition has been held here in 22 years.
It's about having fun, really. Come out here, have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. To me, it's like a big family because we all cool.
Well, the racing is scheduled to continue through 3 o'clock this afternoon, with the winners to be announced at 3:30. So his trade helped put his team on a path to a championship, and that speedy path carried him to baseball's Hall of Fame. Next, the passing of one of the most popular St. Louis Cardinals of all time, Todd.
And Lauren, most of central Indiana is dry on this Labor Day, but a few of you dealing with some pretty good storms already moving through at this noon hour. We'll take you to the north, up into the Kokomo area, where we have a lot of lightning and a pretty strong cell kind of moving right on the Howard County and Miami County border there, just north of the city of Kokomo. We'll see additional storms here throughout the afternoon. Some could be severe. We'll talk all about it coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
He's going. The pitch is high. The throw is safe. He stole it. The throw got by the shortstop, and Brock has done it.
My base running ability was a force to baseball, a force that one has to deal with.
Lou Brock was regarded as the fastest player in baseball for much of the 1960s and 70s. He was traded by the Chicago Cubs to the St. Louis Cardinals early in his career, in part because Cubs management at the time thought fans were upset at the number of black players on the team. Brock would go on to help lead the Cardinals to 3 World Series, winning 2 of them. At the time he retired, Brock held the single season and career stolen base records. Brock had suffered from health problems in recent years, and his family says he died on Sunday. He was 81 years old. Well, fall is just around the corner, and that means the apples are ripe for the picking. And now, one central Indiana orchard, it's up for sale. Next, how they battled back from harsh spring weather and a pandemic, and what might be next for that iconic orchard. And let's take a live look outside right now. This is a view of the city's skyline here. Pretty clear skies up ahead. We'll check in with Todd and get a look at his holiday forecast for the rest of your afternoon plans and the rest of the work week ahead. You're watching WRTV News at Noon. Stay with us. Welcome back to the News at Noon. It is a socially distant way to spend a day, and what better time to visit an apple orchard than the fall months? But one popular orchard nestled in Johnson County with a rich history is up for sale. It was a busy holiday weekend there, and the longtime owner spoke to me about what she hopes for the future of that property. From the stillness of nature to the sweet sounds of children's voices and the crunching of gravel beneath busy feet. This place has something special.
It's just a nice family-friendly place with great food.
Steve and Deborah from Columbus come for the scenery, the donuts, and of course the Honeycrisp apples.
That's what
there you go.
And the homemade items they have, it's very nice.
Homemade and homegrown. Owner Sarah Brown has family roots in horticulture, but she stumbled upon her love of gardening as a stay-at-home mom.
And then I started this garden that kept growing and growing and growing and growing, and before you know it, I had 30 apple trees and was feeding the whole neighborhood. And my husband looked at me one day and said, "Have you considered about doing this commercially?" And I said, "You know, I'd like to try that."
And so they acquired this farmland in Trafalgar. Now more than 30 years and more than 10,000 trees later, the Browns produce 70 varieties of apples on a property spanning 135 acres.
It took me a while to learn all my enemies, all the things I had to do to produce a good crop of apples, and I'm still learning. This is an early strain of Honeycrisp.
And this spring was especially tough.
Very heartbreaking.
A 1-2 punch of frost wiping out her crop and a global pandemic impacting her community. But with 30-plus years of grit and determination, Brown has apples to sell this busy season and a plan to keep customers safe. And with acres and acres of apple trees, social distancing is made simple. In addition to the orchard, AppleWorks is home to animals, play spaces.
Can you look at Mommy?
I have 5 boys.
Produce, and more. A place Brown believes can be even better with some new energy, which is why she and her husband are looking to sell and retire.
I've seen a lot of kids in the neighborhood grow up and have their own kids, and so that makes me probably older than dirt. But it's been a joy. It's a labor of love, and we're hoping that the next owners share that passion that we have here for the crop and the orchard.
And we want to help you find some socially distant fun activities for the fall months. So if you head on over to our website, WRTV.com, you can find more information on orchards and pumpkin patches open all around the area. You can also learn more about the AppleWorks property that's up for sale. Plus, you can head to the WRTV Instagram for a look at some pictures that I took on my trip down there to Trafalgar. And Todd, I got to tell you, it was the perfect weather out there over the weekend. I really enjoyed my time outside, and hopefully a lot of people are getting outside maybe before some rain showers later today.
Yeah, you have plenty of opportunity to get outside here, Lauren. And as I always say, you just need to be weather aware, especially if you live in some northern locations, for the potential of some isolated storms. I think if you're south of Indianapolis most of the afternoon and evening, you are going to be just fine as far as the storms go. And here's a live look at WRTV radar right now. And you can already see some of these storms flaring up along a kind of stalled out front that was a cold front. Now it's more stationary than anything. But just north of downtown Kokomo, there is some very, very heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning, and that extends now up into southern portions of Miami County, just south of Peru. And this storm system is heading off towards the east, so it's going to get pretty close to clipping Marion here as well as we go over the course of the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. Should be near Marion by about 12:35, and then back off towards the west. There's a few isolated downpours. One up there near Monticello, near Lake Freeman and Lake Schaefer, so be aware of that. If you have friends or family up there, you may want to give them a call. They're soaking out on the water here this afternoon. So most of the storms right now are basically moving from west to east, but what I am expecting is the front to drop a little further to the south, and that should start to bring some rain chances into places like Tipton, Zionsville, even into northern portions of Hamilton County and very close to Indianapolis as the afternoon and the evening goes on as we continue to get into the peak heating here. And you can see that on TrueCast, how they kind of initially stay to the north and then they'll start to drop to the south a little bit as we get a little bit closer to sunset. So that's why you definitely, when you hear thunderstorms in the forecast, they're not widespread here. It's just some isolated ones that'll be moving through. And so that's why your plans can carry on. But obviously, if you hear thunder or you see lightning, make sure you take those plans inside, especially if you're by a body of water. Main threat with these storms will be lightning and the potential for some damaging wind. Can't rule out maybe some of the stronger ones later on, a little bit of hail, but that's why the Storm Prediction Center has the area under the marginal risk of severe weather. Where the sun's shining, 80s. Where there's more clouds, temperatures are in the 70s. Highs today in the 70s to the north. From Indy to the south, 81 to about 85 degrees. And then this evening, again, a spot storm is possible. That could be severe. And then going into the day tomorrow, we crank the heat up, getting all the way up into the upper 80s, about 88 degrees with skies that are going to be mostly sunny. We stay around 88 on Wednesday and then bring more seasonable, cooler weather in as we work our way into Thursday, Friday, and eventually the weekend. So a little push of some heat here to go along with these isolated storms that we have this afternoon, Lauren. But all in all, not a terrible Labor Day forecast, one that you just got to pay attention to a little bit if you're in those stormy areas.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, they say they want to loan you money, but this company is actually taking more money than it's giving out. That's according to Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau. He's here to let you know what you need to watch out for.
If you get contacted by a company called High Rise Loans, be very, very careful before you give them any information. Here's how it works. This company is going to contact you and say that you are pre-approved for a loan. Then they're going to want some information about your bank because they want to deposit the money into your banking account. And then after all of that, they're going to say, well, there's some processing fees. And in order to pay those, they want you to pay via a gift card. Now, we've talked about paying via gift cards and that if a legitimate company asks you to pay via gift card, they're really not a legitimate company. Any legitimate company is going to take a credit card or just a normal way of paying for something. So what this company will do is take your gift card. You're never going to get any money. And if they have your information, but you say, gee, I don't want to pay it via gift card, then they're going to threaten to sell your information, your banking information, on the dark web. And then lastly, what we found out recently is this company, High Rise Loans, may have morphed into a new name called Pacifica Finance. Same sort of looking website, same sort of MO. So if you get contacted by High Rise Loans or Pacifica Finance, don't give them any information. Don't give them any gift cards or anything like that. That's a fake loan company, and they're not going to get any money. They just want to get your money.
Well, Tim, thank you so much. You can find out more about this scam by going online to bbb.org. We'll be back with more news and weather just after this break. You're watching the news at noon on WRTV. Welcome back. So we would play this musical piece, but it would take much too long. Fans of the late composer John Cage gathered at an ancient church in Germany over the weekend to hear a chord change in his musical piece entitled As Slow as Possible. The piece is played constantly on a special organ at the church for the last 19 years, and this is the first change of notes since 2013. Yeah. The musical composition is set to continue nonstop until the year 2640. Didn't know about that, Todd. That's pretty interesting. Kind of crazy.
I had no idea. I had no idea either. Wow, that is pretty amazing. All right, a few storms out there on radar here this morning, Lauren, or this afternoon now, rather, in isolated locations to the north. Be weather aware that some of these storms could be borderline strong to severe. Kevin will have the latest for you this afternoon.
Todd, thanks, and thanks for joining us and making WRTV your choice for news. Have a great Labor Day holiday.